In the National Hockey League, Quinn Hughes had a couple of points. The Vancouver Canucks pick up their first win of the season on the road. They beat the Stars in Dallas 5-3 to kick off a 5-game road trip. And in the NFL, Joe Flacco and the Bengals get the upset win over Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers, 33-31. Cincinnati at 3-4 now, hanging around in the AFC North. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour, anytime. Sportsnet.ca.
Coast Mountain Bus Company is hiring commercial transport and heavy-duty mechanics. Come work for a BC top employer and earn $59.69 an hour. Work a 4-day week, plus receive excellent benefits and a strong pension plan, all while working in a state-of-the-art garage. Apply today at translink.ca/CMBCtrades. Applications close November 3rd. That's translink.ca/CMBCtrades.
This October, shop smart and give back during Midland Appliances Fall Savings for Variety BC. Receive free delivery credits on major Electrolux appliances and extended warranty credits on Frigidaire Professional and Frigidaire Gallery purchases over $500. Plus, take advantage of BC Hydro's fall appliance rebates. Partial proceeds will support Variety, the children's charity, helping children with disabilities and complex health needs across BC. Details at midlandappliance.com.
You're listening to News Radio. I'm Tom Hackett. Premier Danielle Smith says she wants to form a commission on education after an historic province-wide teacher strike is over. Smith says her government has tried to address the biggest challenges facing classrooms.
There's clearly some issues and challenges in ensuring that there's enough education assistance able to address complexity. And we've been trying to address all of those things. We're building more schools. We've offered a comprehensive pay increase package. We are prepared to hire more teachers and hire more education assistants.
Smith's comments came as thousands of teachers and supporters rallied in downtown Edmonton, demanding the government invest more in public education. The Wilder Institute Calgary Zoo is adopting the 2 orphan grizzly bear cubs it took in last month, just as it had to euthanize 2 senior bears. The young grizzlies, discovered near Diamond Valley after their mother died in a human-wildlife incident, were too small to survive independently. News of their adoption comes shortly after the zoo put down its 2 35-year-old grizzly bears due to their advanced age. Animal care supervisor Jax Hogard says, unlike black bears, grizzly cubs cannot be safely reintroduced to the wild, as human exposure can reduce their natural fear of people.
We had the space for them here just to hold them temporarily until they could be found a more permanent home. There has been evidence with black bears being re-released appropriately in, again, appropriate circumstances, but it's not common for grizzly bears to have the same success rate, nor does that follow the provincial guidelines. So again, generally, if grizzly cubs are orphaned, it's almost always that they're placed into a long-term care facility or an accredited zoo rather than being released.
The cubs will not be visible to the public until spring 2026. Stateside, there are growing concerns around threats from AI. Ed Donahue has more.
A new report says artificial intelligence is increasingly being used to mount cyber attacks against the U.S. New research from Microsoft says the AI attacks are coming from Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea. The amount of fake content created online has more than doubled since last year, and it's increased more than 10 times since 2 years ago. AI can translate poorly worded phishing emails into fluent English, as well as generate digital clones of senior government officials. The report says the U.S. is the top target for cyber attacks, and U.S. companies and organizations are getting by with outdated cyber defenses. Russia, China, and Iran have denied they use cyber operations for espionage, disruption, and disinformation. China says the U.S. is trying to smear Beijing while conducting its own cyber attacks. Ed Donahue, Washington.
It sounds cliche, but tell me, would you wait for me? Baby, I'm a rolling stone.
Rapper and singer MGK will headline the halftime show at the 112th Grey Cup, the CFL announced Thursday. The performer, formerly known as Machine Gun Kelly, has released 7 studio albums, with his 2020 release, Tickets to My Downfall, certified double platinum in the United States. His latest album, Lost Americana, was released in August. Canadian alt-rock group Our Lady Peace will headline the kickoff show, while country singer Katie St. Germain will sing the national anthem. The Grey Cup will be played on November 16th in Winnipeg. Your traffic and weather are coming up next.
Shoppers Foundation for Women's Health is challenging us all to ask, how many women have we lost because of a late diagnosis? How many women have been overlooked because so little research funding goes to women's health? How many women have felt unseen because they can't access proper care? Maybe even you. Health inequities are harming women. It's why we're working to improve access to equitable and inclusive care. It's time to make women's health visible. Get to know the facts at shoppersfoundation.ca.
Imagine your business featured right here, reaching engaged listeners in your community. With Rogers Sports and Media's Ad Manager, you can advertise on premium radio, podcast, and digital platforms. Connect with trusted audiences who love our content. No ad buying experience needed. Our team can even produce your ad at no cost. Plus, we'll help you get started with up to $500 off your next campaign. Manage your radio, podcast, and digital advertising all in one place. Visit grow.rogersportsandmedia.com.
From the 1130 Rogers Xfinity Internet Traffic Center, I'm Kevin Olenek, and there is work on both sides of the Patillo Bridge. On the Surrey side, Highway 17 westbound from Tannery Road to Bridgeview Drive, the right lane will be blocked. On the New West side, you'll have those detours around Royal, Columbia, and McBride. Other work to be aware of going towards the Patillo Bridge includes on King George Boulevard and Bridgeview Drive, and the work continues on Fraser Highway as part of the Surrey SkyTrain project. From 96th Avenue, 140th remains closed. Fraser Highway 152nd has cones. Fraser Highway between 188th and 192nd also has cones. As we look at the weather, we are looking at showers in the morning, a mix of sun and cloud in the afternoon, a high of 13. 10 to 20 millimeters of rain on Saturday, a high of 10. 5 millimeters of rain on Sunday, a high of 13. And then more showers on Monday, a high of 13.
You're listening to News Radio. I'm Tom Hackett. After a series of accidents, pursuits, and standoffs, a federal judge in Illinois is imposing new restrictions on federal agents carrying out immigration raids in and around Chicago. Judge Sarah Ellis accuses federal agents of violating a restraining order she issued last week and now wants officers with body-worn cameras to have them on during law enforcement activities. ABC's Alex Perez has more from Chicago.
Chicago residents and protesters are now documenting more encounters.
He's a citizen! He's a citizen! You don't know what's going on, so get the back!
Illinois' governor, who hasn't asked for federal help, praised the judge's order.
The federal agents are required to have body cameras on them because they clearly lie about what goes on.
The judge also ordered the field director of ICE here in Chicago to appear before the court and answer questions on Monday.
A gym and 2 schools in South Carolina have been identified as the sources of a growing measles outbreak in the state. ABC's Rena Roy has more.
According to data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the U.S. has reported at least 1,596 measles cases this year, the highest number since 1992. This outbreak in South Carolina comes as former CDC officials raise concerns about the federal agency's preparedness for public health threats after widespread layoffs.
A U.S. official tells ABC News that the military conducted an airstrike Thursday targeting a suspected drug vessel in the Caribbean. The official says there were survivors, unlike previous operations where there have been none. And 3 nuclear-capable B-52 heavy bombers flew for hours in the Caribbean waters less than 90 miles from Venezuela. ABC News Chief Global Affairs Correspondent Martha Raddatz has more.
Trump blames Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro for drugs coming into the U.S. and is trying to pressure him to step down. The administration offering $50 million for information leading to his arrest and conviction on drug charges.
President Trump set to meet with Ukraine's President Zelensky today as world leaders discuss a potential peace summit. Trump announcing that another Trump-Putin summit will take place in Hungary. Here's ABC News Chief White House Correspondent Mary Bruce.
He says that there are going to be high-level meetings between the U.S. and Russia next week, being spearheaded by Marco Rubio. But the big question is, what makes this time different? Why does the president think that he can accomplish now what eluded him just 2 months ago in Alaska? And the president was asked that question, and he said he thinks Alaska actually set a stage, that it laid the groundwork for them to continue to have this conversation.
Your business news is coming up next.
Know more of what's happening in your community. Everything Vancouver. 1130 News Radio.
We are up, AI, we We are so doomed because we manufactured our own demise. But all's not lost thanks to the BC Securities Commission. They can help us fight AI scammers and their evil plan.
Protect yourself from AI investment scams. Go to avoidaiscams.ca.
All right, team. Clock is almost at 0. Get in there. Get the flooring from Global Carpets and Hardwoods installed and enjoy some orange slices.
Coach, there is no clock. Why do we have to be so fast?
Pride, son.
Global Carpets and Hardwoods is home to fast, expert installation with a huge selection of vinyl, carpets, and area rugs in stock. Go to the Globe at Marine and Heather or globalcarpets.ca. 100% Canadian owned and operated.
Global Carpets and Hardwoods. The world at your feet.
Good morning. U.S. stock futures are down, but well off the earlier lows of the morning. Market's been a bit jittery after 2 U.S. regional banks disclosed bad loans, and that led to concern that there would be others to follow. We saw regional bank stocks tumble Thursday and more downward pressure this morning. But the Dow futures contract, which was down 400 points when we came in this morning, now down just 55 points and has been actually testing a break-even level. NASDAQ futures just still down over 100 points. The price for gold hit a peak of $43.92 an ounce early. Right now it's up $19 at $43.23. Price for oil down 3 cents at $57.43. It's a money-losing week for crude, and it's now just $2 above a 5-year low. Looking at weight loss company stocks down in pre-market trade after some offhand comments by the U.S. president.
Shares of Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk both down now after President Trump said the price of Ozempic could come down to just $150 a month. Right now, the U.S. list price of Ozempic, which is made by Novo, is about $1,000 for a month's supply. Lilly makes similar treatments, Wegovy and Zepbound. The president's comments following the administration's deal with Merck to cut prices for fertility treatments in exchange for a break on pharmaceutical tariffs. Monica Ricks, Bloomberg Radio.
In the cryptocurrency space, Bitcoin's down $2,000 at $105,900. Reports of liquidations on some accounts, taking the crypto market lower. Ethereum down 1 3/4%. The Canadian dollar is steady at 71 1/4 cents U.S. At the Business Center, I'm Mike Apple.
Erectile dysfunction is common for men over 40. At Pollock Clinics, we treat your ED by changing your anatomy, improving blood flow, and attacking the root causes for long-term results. Pills are only a short-term solution. Our treatments include painless shockwave therapy, platelet-rich plasma, Trimix, vacuum erection devices, sex therapy, and lifestyle changes. We've helped countless guys who thought they were out of options. Book your consultation at pollockclinics.com.
Service matters in the propane industry, so don't get frozen out this winter. Call on the blue guys to bring the heat. Super Save Propane, your source for heaters of all sizes, same-day cylinder service, bulk tanks, and of course the qualified service techs for assessment and safety training. When it's a necessity to buy Canadian, you want the Canadian company who've been heating since 1977. Super Save Propane. Visit supersave.ca.
CKWXAM,
a Rogers radio station.
1130 News Radio, Vancouver. Number 1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather. 1130 News Radio, Vancouver.
Good morning. This is Friday, October 17th. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Lloyd. In Vancouver, it's 9 degrees, some showers still here and there. Here's what's happening right now.
They're desperate and need something done. Members of BC's hospitality, wine, beer, and liquor sectors are gathering this morning to pressure the provincial government to bring an end to the ongoing BCGE strike.
The clock is officially ticking on the municipal election. 1 year from today, you go to the polls. Experts weigh in on what people urgently want addressed.
An arrest has been made after a string of suspicious fires in Coquitlam. And we are watching the price of gas continue to drift downwards.
Gut check time now for both the Mariners and the Blue Jays. The ALCS tied at 2. The road team has taken every game so far, and the Vancouver Canucks pick up a big win on the road. That's coming up in sports at 15.
A cautious tone on major markets coming into the Friday trade. The Dow futures well off the earlier lows, now down just 40 points. The price for gold hitting a fresh record, and oil not far from a 5-year low. Business at 26.
It's 5:01 to the 11:30 Rogers Xfinity Internet Traffic Center. Here is no, it's not Alex. Who we got in there?
We got Sydney Parker
Hey,
here,
Sydney,
filling
good
in for
morning.
Alex. Good morning. Starting off strong here with a stall in Langley. Highway 1 eastbound before 264. It is off on the right shoulder, luckily, so it's not blocking any lanes, but it sounds like it might need a tow truck, and they're most likely going to have to block a lane to get that out of there. So definitely keep that in mind as you work your way through, and might be a good idea to just move over to the left as you go by, just to keep everything nice and safe early in the morning, especially because it is still dark all throughout the Lower Mainland. Make sure you got those headlights and taillights on and that you are driving to road conditions. Things are a little bit wet, mostly from the condensation, no rain, but it is definitely slick out there, so definitely keep that in mind. In terms of the major routes, you're in great shape all throughout the Lower Mainland for now. Things are only going to start to get busier from here, so definitely keep that in mind as you are traveling around. Traffic is for Jim Pattison Subaru North Shore. Discover the 2025 Subaru WRX with rates from 2.99% plus a 2% loyalty rate reduction. Browse available inventory online at gpsubarunorthshore.com. And now on to the weather. It looks like for today it is mostly cloudy with a few showers early, and then sun and cloud by this afternoon with some wind blowing in from the south. So just keep that in mind. And then for tonight, mostly cloudy, a low down to 7. And then into tomorrow, mostly cloudy with steadier rain from the afternoon into the evening. Gusty winds between 40 to 50 kilometers an hour. That's a high of 10, a low of 9. And to finish off the weekend on Sunday, mostly cloudy with rain showers through the early afternoon, a high of 13 and a low down to 7. Looks like for today, your high is 13.
Thank you, Sydney. 11:30 news time, 5:03.
11:30 News Radio. Developing story.
Well, members of BC's hospitality, wine, beer, and liquor sectors are gathering this morning to pressure the provincial government to bring an end to the ongoing public workers' strike. 11:30's Dean Rex Seidler is joining us live. Dean, the industry players say the BC General Employees Union strike has had a devastating impact.
Yeah, that's right, Mike. The 6 industry associations will be at this morning's news conference, and all of them singing from the same songbook. They're being hit hard by the BC GEU strike. It's costing them a lot of money and impacting jobs, too. So Qanda runs the privately owned Liquor 62 in Surrey. He says it's been brutal.
We're essentially just kind of ordering as we needed, but now the fact that we're completely out of stock, it has forced us to make some sort of executive decisions in terms of what we can do to mitigate our costs until there is some sort of resolution to this.
Wine Growers British Columbia, BC Restaurant Food Services Association, Import Vintners and Spirits Association, Restaurants Canada, BC Craft Brewers Guild, and Able BC say in lieu of a deal ending the strike, they want the province to figure out a way for private businesses to circumvent the provincial warehouses, at least for the duration of the job action. Live in the News Center, I'm Dean Rex Seidler.
And the ongoing strike is having a big impact on those who need government assistance of any kind. Our Joe Sadowski has one woman's story.
Michaela Vanden Heuvel is studying at UBC, raising her 4-year-old son, Marshall, relying on the affordable childcare benefit to make ends meet. But due to the escalating job action with the BC GEU, the money she depends on still hasn't arrived.
I went into the month with that expectation, and now this is going on to the second part of the month, and I still haven't received my money for this month.
She says she was told direct deposit payments wouldn't be affected by the BC GEU strike, but 2 weeks later, she's still waiting.
I didn't find out when my check was going to be coming. I didn't find out what next month is going to look like. And now, again, like I am direct deposit, they have very clearly said that direct deposit will not experience significant delays, and yet here we are.
In Vancouver, Joe Sadowski, City News.
1 year from today, British Columbians will be going to the polls in municipal elections. 11:30 Sonia Aslam has a breakdown of the most urgent topics that voters want addressed.
Similar to what we saw during last year's provincial election, money, meaning no more tax hikes and affordability, housing, and public safety. Now, we already know some mayors won't be back in the top job. Richmond and Coquitlam were 2 of them. Pollster Mario Canseco thinks Surrey's mayor is facing an uphill battle against Councillor Linda Annis, who's already announced her team.
You have the benefit of saying that you want the job and to have a year of campaigning behind you, but it's also problematic when your rivals can zero in on some of the things that you want to do and then have time to develop policy to counter it.
UBC political scientist Stuart Prest says it's unclear if voter turnout will be decent.
I do think there is a sense of frustration with governments of the last number of years.
Canseco says to look out for those in their 20s. That's one demographic filled with people struggling to afford to live here. They'll make their anger known with their vote. I'm Sonia Aslam.
11:30 news time, 5:06 at 9 degrees in downtown Vancouver. And the Toronto Blue Jays have turned the tide in Seattle, and their fans couldn't be happier. Mariners fans, don't ask them. Our Kevin Meisner is breaking down last night's 8-2 Jays win in the ALCS.
Some Jays fans may be pinching themselves, wondering, hey, did that just happen? But the Blue Jays have indeed spent all season proving you can never count this team out early. The win just makes Jays only the 5th team in MLB history to start a series down 2 games, then storm back and tie it up in Game 4. Ethan is still riding the high of excitement.
Yeah, it's a big comeback for sure. You know, yeah, we were pumped. Everyone at the bar was pumped. It was just a great vibe for sure.
Fans are also pumped about Max Scherzer's start, the future Hall of Famer allowing 2 runs and 5 strikeouts. Andres Jimenez hitting a home run with 5 RBIs. And how about Vladdy smacking his 5th home run of the postseason? That is a new team record. I'm Kevin Meisner.
Game 5 starts just after 3 this afternoon. The pregame starts an hour earlier on Sportsnet. Well, BC's Attorney General says she is hopeful a federal bill on bail reform being introduced in Parliament next week will address the need for more protections in intimate partner and gender-based violence cases. Nikki Sharma says that BC has been pressing the federal government for real reform that would include stronger bail and sentencing laws as well as tougher consequences for repeat violent offenders. Sharma says the murder of Kelowna woman Bailey McCourt this summer, whose estranged spouse is the accused, is a heartbreaking reminder of what's at stake and highlights the need for stronger legal safeguards against intimate partner violence. In that case, the estranged partner had been convicted of choking someone and freed on $500 bail just hours before the alleged attack on McCourt. Mounties in Coquitlam say they've arrested a suspect in connection with a string of suspicious fires late last month. They all happened in the Millardville neighborhood over the course of several days. At least 4 fires were reported. Nobody was hurt, but in one case, a building full of people was forced to evacuate. It's not clear if police believe the same suspect is responsible for all 4 of the fires. And the price of gas continues to drop at some stations in Metro Vancouver. You can generally find regular for $1.55.9 this morning, which is down a few cents from early yesterday. A few days ago, it was in the $1.60s. Well, the Vancouver Whitecaps looking to close out the regular MLS season on top of the Western standings. The club can clinch first place in the Western Conference with a win or a draw this weekend at home against Dallas at BC Place. And that would also give them home field advantage through the conference playoffs. So the Whitecaps have not lost a game in over 2 months now. We are your station for breaking news, traffic and weather, and traffic alerts when you need them. 1130 News Radio Vancouver. Your ferry report is next.
The Township of Langley is having a by-election for one councillor position. Advanced voting runs from October 15th to October 22nd, with general voting day on Saturday, October 25th. Due to the Canada Post labor disruption, voter notification cards cannot be mailed out. However, for this election, voters do not need a voter notification card to cast their vote. To find out more, visit the elections page at tol.ca/elections. A message from the Township of Langley.
And now the 1130 News Radio Ferry Report. Here's Sydney Parker.
Thank you. If you're heading out to the island right now from Tawasin to Swartz Bay, your first up sailing is at 7 o'clock. It is already sold out. So you have a 1 sailing wait for the 9, which is just over 80%. And then if you're going from Tawasin to Duke Point, your first up sailing is at 5:15. You have quite a bit of space left at 65%. The next up, 7:45, is already at 80. And then Horseshoe Bay to Departure Bay is now reservation only. They no longer have current conditions. So we're going to check on Horseshoe Bay to Langdale. It looks like your first up 7:30 is just under half sold. You can find the latest ferry updates anytime at vancouver.citynews.ca/traffic.
We have an issue on the road in Richmond. Coming up in 60 seconds, we'll check traffic and weather together on the ones. It's at 5:10.
BC Lions football is back. Get ready for another season of hard hits, heated rivalries, and non-stop entertainment at Save-On Foods Field at BC Place. Watch the Canadian kid Nathan Rourke light it up with the CFL's most electric receiving corps, all in front of a party atmosphere like no other. Tickets start at just $19. Visit VCLions.com and get ready to roar as one.
Dreaming of a Rolex? A stunning natural diamond? With bids starting up to 75% below replacement values, now is your chance. Bid and win at Federal Auction's exclusive fine jewelry and Swiss watch live auction. Only this Sunday, 1 p.m. at the Radisson Hotel, Vancouver Airport, number 3 in Canby Road in Richmond. For more information, visit federalauction.ca.
It's 5:11 to the 11:30 Rogers Xfinity Internet Traffic Center. Here's Sydney Parker.
Thank you, Mike. If you're over in Richmond, there's some debris. Garbage bags dropped on the 91 westbound near number 6 Road and Knight Street. Sounds like it's kind of scattered out in between, and it is impacting the right lane. So if you're working your way through westbound on the 91 through Richmond right now, definitely a heads up. Move over to the left. The caller let me know since it's still so dark out, it's very hard to see, and you don't see it until it's almost too late. So definitely a heads up as you work your way through. At the moment, not causing any delays, but definitely something to keep in mind. There's also the stall out in Langley, Highway 1 eastbound before 264. It's off on the right shoulder, so it's not really affecting traffic, but just the same thing. It's dark out, so you want to move over to the left and give them lots of space to keep everything nice and safely as you pass by, especially at those high speeds on the highway. And then they are waiting for a tow truck, so once that shows up, they're most likely going to have to block the right lane to help this get out of here. So definitely keep that in mind as you work your way through. Aside from that, the major routes are in pretty good shape throughout the Lower Mainland. Still a little bit too early to start to really see signs of slowdowns, but definitely as you're driving throughout the Lower Mainland, make sure you got your headlights and taillights on and keep everything safe. Traffic brought to you by Central City Fun Park, BC's largest indoor fun park with roller skating, mini golf, family go-karts, and a giant arcade. Central City Fun Park in Surrey. And now on to the weather. It looks like for today, mostly cloudy with a few showers early, sun and cloud by the afternoon with some wind, and then it's going to be a low down to 7. Into tomorrow, mostly cloudy with steadier rain in the afternoon into the evening and some gusty winds, a high of 10, a low of 9. And to finish off the weekend, mostly cloudy with rain showers through the early afternoon, a high of 13 and a low down to 7.
11:30 news time, 5:13. So is it too early for Christmas rom-coms? So the Hallmark Channel certainly doesn't think so.
The annual Hallmark Channel's Countdown to Christmas returns today to the W Network with 6 series premieres and 28 new holiday movies.
One of these gifts has to lead us in the direction of the Mystery Center.
It's called Holiday Touchdown, a Bill's love story, and it's about the only way my husband will watch a Hallmark movie. It features players like Ray Davis, Damar Hamlin, and Bill's legend, Jim Kelly. Hallmark movie favorite and former Party of 5 star Lacey Chabert will play a naughty or nice inspector in the movie She's Making a List.
Let's make some Christmas magic.
Here we go.
Another jingle-worthy title includes A Grand Ole Opry Christmas, featuring original music from Grammy winner Brad Paisley. I'm Eva Fragiscatos.
Well, the Jays take some winning momentum into Game 5 in Seattle. Sports is next, along with your top headlines.
11:30 News Radio Crypto Report, brought to you by Netcoins. Netcoins makes crypto trading simple. Start trading today at netcoins.com. Crypto trading involves risk. Netcoins is registered with applicable Canadian regulators.
Cryptocurrencies trading lower this morning on reports of some liquidations in some accounts. Credit risk rippling through the broader market, taking Bitcoin right now down $2,200 at $105,600. The price for Ethereum this morning is down $74 at $37.79. That's a drop of 1.9%. Solana down by 0.9%. Crypto-linked stocks are also down this morning, including shares of Bullish down by 3%, Riot Platforms down 5.5%, and Coinbase down 2.9%.
Crypto is here, and Netcoins is leading the way in Canada. Netcoins is your home for safe, simple digital asset trading. Proudly owned by Big Digital Assets, Inc. Listed on the TSX Venture Exchange under BIGG. Visit netcoins.com to get started. Crypto trading involves risk. Netcoins is registered in Canada with the applicable Canadian regulators.
Dress them up or down and save over 30% at TSC on the Mr. Max Stretch Faux Suede Boot Cut Pants. Today's showstopper at tsc.ca. Exciting offers every day.
Vancouver's trusted news. 11:30 News Radio.
Cloudy and 9 degrees in Vancouver. Good morning. I'm Mike Lloyd. Here's what's happening right now. Members of BC hospitality of wine, beer, and liquor sectors are gathering this morning to pressure the provincial government for some way to get liquor flowing during the ongoing public workers strike. They say the BC General Employees Union strike is having a devastating impact on the industry. A year to go until the civic elections, we are hearing from political watchers about the issues that will shape campaigns and the votes, of course, including housing and affordability. And coming up after sports.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky returns to the White House for a meeting with the U.S. leader, but questions now about where they stand after a surprise chat between Donald Trump and the Russian president.
From Sportsnet 650, the home of the Canucks, here's Marcus Fitzgerald.
Game 5 of the American League Championship Series is set for Friday, and the Blue Jays are probably happy about that because the bats were rolling again on Thursday in Seattle.
Payoff pitch. Swing in a deep drive right field. Turning backhand zone. Turns at the wall. It's gone! Andres Jimenez for a second straight night launches a two-run homer, and the Blue Jays lead 2-1 in the top of the third.
Andres Gimenez has 2 career postseason home runs. They've come on back-to-back days. A big day for Toronto. They beat Seattle 8-2, so this series is down to a best of 3. Game 5 goes Friday at T-Mobile. Can the Mariners get the momentum back? The road team has won every game in this series so far. Bryce Miller will get the call for the Mariners opposite Toronto's Kevin Gausman. We'll look forward to that Friday afternoon on Sportsnet. Game 6, by the way, will be in Toronto on Sunday. Will there be a Game 7? That's the question. Dodgers beat Milwaukee 3-1, the defending champs, a win away from getting back to the Fall Classic. They can punch that ticket on Friday evening. In the NHL, Quinn Hughes had 2 points. Thatcher Demko made 28 stops. The Vancouver Canucks kicked off a 5-game road trip with a 5-3 win over the Stars in Texas. The Flames will get back to it on Saturday against the Vegas Golden Knights. They've lost 4 in a row. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour. Harney Time, sportsnet.ca.
Experience the warmth of all-inclusive retirement living at Van Fleetwood Villa. Drop by our open house Saturday, October 25th, 10 to 2, and discover a welcoming community. Steps from shops, the library, community center, and Francis Park. Visit vanvyfleetwoodvilla.ca.
The odds of encountering a tornado in Canada are 1 in 412,371. But when the weather warnings take effect, you're running like the wind. But did you know that if you've had chicken pox, the odds of getting shingles are 1 in 3? Why leave it up to chance? Ask your healthcare professional about Shingrix. The Shingrix vaccine helps protect adults against shingles. 100% protection not guaranteed. Adverse reactions may occur. Visit shingrix.ca.
This is Bro Jake with an important message to landlords. Trust Peninsula Property Management, 38 years of experience, 450 plus 5-star reviews, and 24/7 emergency maintenance for homes, condos, and more. Visit rentinfo.ca.
11:30 news time, 5:18. Well, where does U.S. President Donald Trump stand on support for Ukraine? Now, that's what the Ukrainian leader will likely look to answer in a meeting at the White House this morning.
What seemed sure days ago is now clouded in questions after a surprise phone call between Trump and the Russian leader ahead of today's discussion. Trump says he and Vladimir Putin had a productive conversation, agreeing to high-level talks as early as next week and a future summit in Hungary. So the question now, how does this change the agenda going into today's meeting between Trump and Ukrainian President Zelensky? For Ukraine, Tomahawk missiles, which would give the country enough range to strike Moscow, are on the line. Trump, speaking to reporters, did not say whether his stance changed following his talk with Putin. I'm Sofia Vavaroutsos.
And a fatality inquiry set to begin today into the deaths of 3 people on a tour bus that tumbled down a steep embankment at the Columbia Ice Fields in Jasper National Park.
3 people died and 14 others were seriously injured after the Ice Explorer lost control on a road leading to the Athabasca Glacier more than 5 years ago. RCMP didn't lay criminal charges, but the bus operator pleaded guilty to 2 charges under Alberta's Occupational Health and Safety Act for failing to mandate seatbelts and failing to control hazards. A fatality inquiry can't assign blame, but makes recommendations to prevent similar deaths. Bill Graveland, The Canadian Press, Jasper, Alberta.
Coming up in 60 seconds, we'll check traffic and weather together on the one, starting things off with a stall on Highway 1 in Langley. We'll update that. It's 5:20.
We're not kidding around. Coit cleans up the rough stuff.
Call Coit now and get your home clean for less for you and your pets.
Get 45% off area rug cleaning,
35% off carpet and upholstery cleaning,
and 30% off tiling, grout, and wood care from Coit.
The clean you love from the company you trust.
Save from 30 to 45% off now. Let Coit clean up those pet messes for you.
Call 1-800-4COIT or order online at coit.ca.
Also serving Nanaimo.
The rewards just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger at Cascades Casino Delta. Until November 9th, you've got a chance to win up to $25,000 in cash. Swipe your Encore Rewards card daily to instantly win prizes and win up to $2,500 cash at 2:30 and 4:30 p.m. on draw day Sundays. Plus, someone in BC will win $20,000 October 26th at 4 p.m. and $25,000 November 9th at 4 p.m. Must be 19 plus to play. Know your limit, play within it.
It's 521 to the 1130 Rogers Xfinity Internet Traffic Center. Here's Sydney Parker.
Thank you, Mike. If you're out in Langley, there's a stall. It's on Highway 1 eastbound just before the 264 exit. It's actually off on the right shoulder, so it's not impacting any lanes, at least not for now. It sounds like they are waiting for a tow truck to show up on scene, and once they do, they're most likely going to have to block that right lane to help clear this. So just keep that in mind as you work your way by, and it might be a good idea to move over to the left just to keep everything nice and safe, especially since it's still pretty dark throughout the lower mainland. So make sure you got your headlights and taillights on as well wherever you are currently traveling. There is some debris out in Richmond. A bunch of garbage bags were dropped on Highway 91 westbound in around number 6 Road at night in the right lane. This is another issue because it's so dark out, you can't see it until it's almost too late. So definitely scoot over to the left here to get yourself by, and don't be crashing into garbage bags on the road, especially if those broke open. It would cause a whole bigger mess. So definitely a heads up on that. And then most of the major routes right now are in pretty good shape throughout the lower mainland. Not really seeing any major slowdowns yet, but pretty soon we're going to start to see signs of the morning rush and things are going to start to slow down. Canadian Tire's biggest tire sales here. Save up to 25% on quality tire brands like Michelin, Motomaster, and more until November 12th. Conditions apply. Details online. And now over to the Penfolds Roofing and Solar Weather Center. Here is meteorologist Carl Lamb.
We'll have a few showers as we start the day across Metro Vancouver, and we'll get some sunshine in here during the afternoon. One thing you'll notice today, though, the winds are gustier right by the water, but even away from the coast, those gusts could still be around 30, 40 kilometers per hour, and by the water, they're closer to 50. So your high for today is 13, down to an overnight low of 7. Then for tomorrow, cloudy with rain from the afternoon into the evening, gusty winds as well. Tomorrow's high is just 10 degrees and a low of 9. Then for Sunday, cloudy with rain through the morning into the early afternoon and 13. Then Monday, sun and cloud with a chance for showers later in the day and 12. And then for Tuesday, sun and cloud with a chance for some rain and 13. Your high for today is 13 degrees.
Traffic and weather brought to you by Jim Pattison Toyota Surrey. During Get It and Go, finance the 2026 Prius plug-in hybrid from 3.99% and receive up to a 1% loyalty rate reduction. Browse available inventory online at jptoyotasurrey.com.
And coming up at the bottom of the hour, members of BC's hospitality, wine, beer, and liquor sectors gathering this morning. They have a joint news conference scheduled for 10 a.m. to pressure the provincial government to get liquor distributions going during the ongoing public worker strike. Now, they say the BC General Employees Union job action is having a devastating impact on the industry. We'll have all those details and our other top stories coming up at 5:30. 11:30 news time, 5:24. Well, Mission RCMP need your help in finding a man believed to be behind a large amount of graffiti in the city. The Mounties say a number of businesses downtown report having their buildings spray painted on the nights of September 24th and 25th. CCTV footage captured a man police believes responsible for the vandalism, but they've yet to identify him. You can find the photos on the Mission RCMP website. The Mounties encouraging anyone and the other property owners who had their buildings spray painted to report it to police. A two-day meeting of ministers responsible for justice and public safety at the federal, provincial, and territorial levels is set to wrap up today in Kananaskis, Alberta.
Federal Justice Minister Sean Fraser says the meeting is an opportunity for every province and territory to be represented in discussions about justice and public safety issues. Those discussions so far have also covered 3 justice bills the federal government is bringing forward this fall. Fraser says the conversations at the meeting would be reflected in a bail and sentencing reform bill to be introduced next week. Another bill covering a number of other crimes, including intimate partner violence, sexual offenses, and online exploitation of children, is coming later this fall. Rob Westgate, The Canadian Press.
The former U.S. Trump administration National Security Advisor John Bolton is being charged with storing top-secret records at home and sharing with relatives notes that contained classified information. Brian Buckmeyer reports the 18-count indictment also suggests classified information was exposed when operatives believed to be linked to the Iranian regime hacked Bolton's email account in 2021 and gained access to sensitive material he'd shared.
What stuck out to me is all of the avenues in which the prosecutor in this case is nullifying how John Bolton can say, I didn't know. There are multiple arguments here that the prosecutor is making that shows that he had knowledge and willfully committed this act. I didn't kind of cutting off any avenue for an argument.
The investigation into Bolton, who became an outspoken critic of the Republican leader, burst into public view in August when the FBI searched his home in Maryland and his office in Washington. Well, a new study out of SFU says it's time to scrap the current shrink it and pink it approach to designing women's running shoes. Alison Azad is the senior author of the study, and she says most running shoes are based on male foot anatomy. The problem?
Women aren't just necessarily small men, which is sort of what is implied, when you take the men's shoe and you shrink it down to women.
Azad says designing a running shoe for the anatomy and biomechanics of females could boost comfort, enhance injury prevention, and overall improve performance. Your business news is next.
Imagine all the things you could do for your home if you had everything at your disposal in one place. All the experts, all the advice, and all the ideas. Find it all at the 43rd Annual Vancouver Home Show. Get expert help, inspiration, shop trusted local businesses, and see industry pros and celebrity guests on the main stage. The Vancouver Home Show, October 23rd to 26th at the Vancouver Convention Center West Building. Sponsored by 1130 News. Get your tickets at vancouverfallhomeshow.com.
And now your market minutes with Mike Eppel.
Markets are recuperating from early losses as U.S. President Donald Trump is trying to soothe some fears about trade tensions with China. And some more bank earnings in this morning, coming in better than forecast. A day after some red flags were raised about a pair of U.S. regional banks reporting losses and potential fraudulent activity. That took this market down yesterday and was down. The Dow Jones at one point was down 450 points early this morning, but we've seen a complete recuperation. Also helping the market, American Express in with big numbers, accelerating spending on credit cards, and the Platinum Card, very popular at Amex. The share price moving higher now in reaction to the earnings. The price for gold early this morning as the stock market was selling off hit a peak of $43.92 an ounce. Right now up $16 at $43.21. Bitcoin still down $1,800 at $106,000. The cryptocurrencies have been under pressure. Less liquidity in that market. Some margin calls perhaps being called in. And we've seen the trading-related crypto stocks all take a tumble this morning, including shares of Bullish down by 3%, Coinbase down 3%, Galaxy Digital down 3.5%, and Hive Digital down by as much as 16%. Oil is steady at $57.48. It's, though, just $2 away from hitting a 5-year low. Crude futures have been down all week. Price for a Canadian dollar at 71.23. That's up 1/10 cent. The exchange just above $1.40. At the Business Center, I'm Mike Eppel.
At Jim Pattison Lexus North Shore, drive away in the 2025 TX350 with lease rates starting from 4.9%. Start your purchase experience online at jimpattisonlexus.com.
Small businesses often start with a passion to make a difference for their community, and they rely on us to help them succeed. Scotiabank supports business owners with personalized advice, tools, and rewards to help your business thrive. Find out how you could earn up to $880 in bonuses and savings for your business. Get started today at scotiabank.com/business offers. Conditions apply. Offer expires November 30th, 2025. Full details are available at scotiabank.com/business offers. Offer subject to change.
With Google AI, Destination Canada is giving local businesses the insights they need to grow. Together, we're helping boost tourism from coast to coast to coast. Innovation is Canada's story. Let's tell it together. Find out more at g.co/Canadian Innovation.
Morning's top stories are just ahead, and you can know more anytime. Ask your smart speaker to play 1130 News Radio Vancouver. Get your news 24/7 on the Seeker app with exclusive audio you won't hear anywhere else. That's SEEKR. Dean Rex Hiedler is producing the morning show. It's 5:30.
Number one for breaking news, traffic, and weather. 1130 News Radio, Vancouver.
Good morning. This is Friday, October 17th. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Lloyd. In Vancouver, it's cloudy and 9 degrees. Here's what's happening right now.
The hospitality and liquor sectors are calling on the provincial government to change the rules around liquor distribution amid the BCG EU strike. They said the job action is having a devastating impact.
Let the countdown begin. 1 year from today, you will be going to the polls in the civic election. We're looking at mayoral turnover.
Local Blue Jays fans waking up with hoarse voices. Mariners fans, not so much. And police have made an arrest after a series of suspicious fires in Millardville.
Andres Jimenez, a hero for the Blue Jays once again in Seattle. The road team has won every game so far in the American League Championship Series as it's down to a best of 3 going into Friday between Toronto and Seattle. Sports at 45.
It's 5:31 to the 11:30 Rogers Xfinity Internet Traffic Center. Here's Sydney Parker.
Thank you, Mike. Over in Richmond, there is garbage bags that were dropped on Highway 91 westbound. It's around number 6 Road at night. It is impacting the right lane. Sounds like there's multiple of them kind of spread throughout. So just move over to the left lane to get by this because it's still so dark out that you're not able to see them until it's almost too late. So definitely heed my warning and move over to the left lane to get around this instead. Luckily, it's not causing much of a slowdown, more just something to keep in mind as you are working your way westbound through Richmond. Over in Langley, a stall on Highway 1 eastbound before 264. This one is off on the right shoulder, so it's not really affecting traffic. However, they are waiting for a tow truck, so once that shows up on scene, they're most likely going to have to block the right lane to get this out. And I'm starting to see signs of life out in the valley, Highway 1 westbound, as you are coming out of Abbotsford, passing Mount Lehman, and again, as you work your way past 264 into Langley. So definitely a heads up, starting to see the morning rush taking shape all throughout the Lower Mainland. Traffic is brought to you by Otter Co-op. Otter Co-op members can enjoy free coffee at participating Otter Co-op gas bars with any purchase. Just for being a member, ask for details. And now to the Penfolds Roofing and Solar Weather Center. Here is meteorologist Carl Lamb.
Today we get up to a high of 13 degrees, so we'll start with cloud cover. We'll bring in the chance for some rain showers through the morning, and then there's more sun as we go into the afternoon, peeking through. And those winds start off from the south, spinning around to the northwest, and they'll be around 20 to 30 kilometers per hour. But those gusts could reach 40 or even 50, especially if you're right by the coast. Tonight we're down to an overnight low of 7. Your high for today is 13.
11:30 news time, 5:32.
1130 News Radio, developing story.
The hospitality and liquor sectors in BC getting close to raising the white flag of surrender. But first, they are calling for some help. 1130's Dean Rex Seidler joining us live. Dean, they're asking the province to make some changes amid the ongoing BCG-EU strike.
Yeah, that's right, Mike. They need the province to change the rules around liquor distribution. In particular, the policy that says they can only get booze from provincial government warehouses. Mark Van Chelwitz with Restaurants Canada says local eateries are getting desperate.
There's really very little options right now. Most of the liquor stores are closed, and even the ones that are open, we've got restaurants sending their staff all over the Lower Mainland just to get minimal product. We're now down to critical levels.
Now, 6 industry associations, including the Wine Growers of BC and BC Restaurant and Food Services Association, will be at this morning's news conference. They'll also be releasing a survey detailing the damage the strike is having on their members. Live at the News Center, I'm Dean Rex Seidler.
Well, the strike also hitting hard for those who need government assistance. Our Joe Sadowski is speaking with Michaela Vandehoevel, a single mom who's attending UBC.
I am direct deposit. They have very clearly said that direct deposit will not experience significant delays, and yet here we are.
The province confirms strike action is causing delays in some BC childcare programs, particularly for mailed checks, but insists electronic payments shouldn't be significantly impacted. Still, Michaela says the uncertainty is taking a toll.
I feel as though I and my family and my friends are being held hostage at the will of both the government and those who are striking.
With bills piling up and no clear timeline for payment, she's already bracing for a leaner Christmas. In Vancouver, Joe Sadowski, City News.
Well, there are many problems that voters want solved ahead of next year's municipal election in exactly 1 year. 1130 Sonia Aslam reports there are also some mayors fighting to keep their jobs.
I think one of the issues that is very different this time around is just how early the candidates are declaring.
Pollster Mario Canseco says Surrey is one example. The mayor who he thinks is trying to stay in her role knows she's going up against Councillor Linda Annis, who's already confirmed her team. He explains the downside is the opponent has time to come up with counter policies. In Vancouver, Canseco points to crime, property taxes, affordability, and housing as key issues.
The idea that it's becoming very hard for people to establish themselves in a city like Vancouver.
UBC political scientist Stuart pressed on potential voter apathy.
Municipalities around the province that are mired in controversy and unable to seem to get out of their own way, I would expect to see some transition in those cities for sure.
Adding there is a lot of frustration people will likely take out at the polls. I'm Sonia Aslam.
1130 news time, 5:35 and 9 degrees in downtown Vancouver. And fans of the Toronto Blue Jays celebrating this morning after the Jays' latest win. They managed to pull even at 2 games apiece in their best-of-7 series against the Mariners after an 8-2 win last night in Seattle.
Fans, including Ethan here this morning, amazed to see the Jays storming back in this series to win games 3 and 4 only the 6th time in MLB history that's been done by a team down 2-0.
You know, that's a new stat. I never actually heard that, but, you know, I think we all want to see history be made, and we love to see our Jays do good, so I think it's amazing. It's exciting. Jays are taking Game 5. Yeah. We already know it.
Well, fans are buzzing as well about 41-year-old future Hall of Famer Max Scherzer's solid start. Vladdy hitting his 5th homer of the postseason. That's a new Jays team record. Andres Jimenez also hitting a home run and knocking in 4 RBIs in this game. I'm Kevin Meisner.
Well, Game 5 starts just after 3 this afternoon. The pregame starts an hour earlier on Sportsnet. Well, it's a positive reaction in BC to the federal government's plan to introduce a bill to get tougher on repeat offenders. If passed, the bill would change the burden of proof to the accused to justify why they should be granted bail, in addition to allowing for consecutive sentences for violent and repeat offenders. Now, Vancouver Mayor Ken Sim says he looks forward to the final legislation.
My top priority is and always will be the safety and well-being of Vancouverites. For too long, repeat violent offenders have cycled through the justice system and back onto our streets.
Attorney General Nikki Sharma also points to her recent lobbying for what she calls real reform, especially in the case of Bailey McCourt in Kelowna. She was killed in July. The prime suspect, her estranged husband, who hours earlier had been granted bail after being convicted of assault. Coquitlam RCMP say they've made an arrest in connection to a series of suspicious fires last month. The crews responded to at least 4 separate fires in the Millardville neighborhood. It happened over the course of consecutive days. Now, fortunately, no injuries were reported, but a building had to be evacuated in one case. Well, the price of gas continues to drift downward. At many stations in Metro Vancouver, it's $1.55.9 this morning, down 2 or 3 cents from this time yesterday. And that is down over a dime from a few days ago when drivers were gassing up in the $1.60s. And the regional district is a step closer to completing its latest project to increase our water supply. Our Sarah Jones is getting a look at the just wrapped up tunneling at the Anasis Water Supply Project.
The contractor will now begin installing a massive pipe more than 2.5 meters in diameter, made of inch-thick steel, built to withstand a major earthquake. It'll be able to carry roughly 600 million liters per day.
These water tunnels are going to be in service for at least 100 years, hopefully 200 years or more. And so because of that, we looked at, let's make look at more stringent seismic requirements. Principally, we're able to deliver drinking water during and after a major event.
However, the project still has a few more years to go, with work expected to be finished in 2028. In Surrey, Sarah Jones, City News.
And Vancouver soccer fans also have a lot to cheer about right now. It's not just baseball. The Whitecaps are looking to clinch first place in the Western Conference with the win over Dallas at BC Place this weekend. If that happens, they'll have home field advantage to start the playoffs. Now, other than some injuries to some key players, it has been a dream season for the club, their best ever in the MLS era. We are your station for breaking news, traffic and weather, and traffic alerts as they happen. 11:30 News Radio, Vancouver. Coming up, your border reports.
From hair loss to thinning, Hassan and Wong have been in the field of hair restoration surgery for over 25 years. If you're looking for the highest quality restoration with permanent results, you might be a candidate for the follicular unit extraction technique. The results speak for themselves. Check them out online and find out why patients from all over the world come to Hassan and Wong for their hair restoration. Go to hassanandwong.com for your free online assessment.
Now the 11:30 News Radio Pacific Blue Cross Border Report. Once again, here's Sydney Parker.
Thank you, Mike. If you're heading southbound into the States right now, it's pretty quiet out here. Peace Arch Crossing, only about a 5-10 minute wait. The Pack-Abbey route is the same, only 5-10. Autogrove's still closed for the next while, and Sumas is another quiet 5-10, all heading south. And then north back into Canada, no wait times out here as well. Peace Arch, only about a 5-10 minute wait. The truck crossing is a little bit busier, 10 to 20. Autogrove still closed. Sumas only about 5-10 heading north. You can find the latest border wait times anytime at vancouver.citynews.ca/border.
Drivers needing to dodge some debris in Richmond. We'll tell you about that in traffic and weather together next. It's 5:40.
Meet Lee. Lee needs to sell her home fast because her family is about to get a bit bigger. Which is why Lee's real estate agent used Marquee on rew.ca, a new tool to make your home stand out in a sea of for sale signs. On rew.ca, homes promoted with Marquee get 7 times more people viewing the property, meaning Lee's home sold much faster. Don't just list your home, marquee it. Speak to your real estate agent today about promoting your home on rew.ca. rew.ca, for buyers, for sellers, for home seekers.
This October, shop smart and give back during Midland Appliances Fall Savings for Variety BC. Save on premium kitchen and laundry appliances with free delivery, extended warranty, and installation credits. And BC Hydro's fall appliance rebates are back, making it the perfect time to upgrade and save. Partial proceeds will support Variety, the children's charity, helping children with disabilities and complex health needs across BC. Details at midlandappliance.com.
It's 5:41 to the 11:30 Rogers Xfinity Internet Traffic Center. Here is Sydney Parker.
Thank you, Mike. If you are over in Richmond, there's some debris to look out for. A bunch of garbage bags were dropped on Highway 91 westbound. This is around number 6 road at night. It's kind of scattered, and it is all in the right lane. So you should just move over to the left to get by, and it should be no problem. It's still pretty dark out there, so make sure you have your headlights and taillights on, but that's partly why it's a problem, because it's a black item on a pretty much black road. So it's going to be hard to see. Definitely move over to make sure you don't run into that debris on the 91 West through Richmond. Out in Langley, there's a stall on Happy One eastbound before 264. This one is off on the right shoulder, so for now it's not affecting any of the lanes, but it's most likely going to. Once they get a tow out there to clean this up, it'll start to slow down with the lane being impacted. And Happy One westbound starting to see slowdowns in between Abbotsford and Langley. It's all just little steady pockets of volume, but definitely keep that in mind, getting busier. When it's time to renew your car insurance, get trusted advice with BCAA. Just give them a call, stop by your nearest location, or go to bcaa.com. Now to the Penfolds Roofing and Solar Weather Center. Here is meteorologist Carl Lamb.
We'll have clouds to start this morning, and then a few showers are possible, but also we'll start to dry it out and get some sunshine in here during the afternoon with a high of 13. And it is pretty breezy today, starting with winds from the south and shifting to the northwest. And it'll be gustier right by the water, too. Tonight down to a low of 7. Then for tomorrow, it's cloudy with a high of just 10 degrees. Rain will be with us, especially from the afternoon into the evening, where rain could be heavy at times, too, and pretty windy for Saturday, and then down to 9 on Saturday night. Your high for today is 13.
Traffic and weather brought to you by All Cargo Express, international shipping, importing and exporting. Explore their services or get a quote at allcargoexpress.com.
11:30 news time, 5:43, and it's time for footwear manufacturers to move beyond the shrink it and pink it approach. It's according to a new study out of SFU, which found that most women's running shoes are designed on molds of male feet. Senior author of the study, Allison Eshat, says that an ill-fitting shoe can wreak havoc on female runners.
It might not be comfortable. It might actually contribute to injuries. It might also contribute to decreased running performance.
Eshat says the majority of sport and exercise research is done on men and boys and then extrapolated to women and girls. She says that doesn't cut it because women have different biomechanics, anatomy, and hormones than men do. Well, the Blue Jays looking for an away sweep in Seattle. Game 3 coming up in the ALCS. Sports is next, along with your top headlines.
Hun, it's all coming up.
What is?
Everything. Grad photos for Bobby, Jack and Diane's wedding, back to school clothes for Leo. We need to get to Rex Cox Menswear now.
Good idea. They have something for everyone and every occasion. Formal to casual wear, they even have accessories.
Rex Cox Menswear is celebrating 100 years of keeping style alive since 1925. Rex Cox Menswear in Mission. Mention this ad, get 15% off everything in store. Online at rexcoxmenswear.com.
What's that sound?
It's the sound of money being sucked out of our home. Time to upgrade our windows, doors, and insulation.
That sounds expensive.
What's expensive is paying for heating and cooling that just leaks outside. With high-efficiency upgrades, we'll use less energy, which could help reduce overall greenhouse gas emissions. Plus, we'll save money with Fortis BC's rebates.
Rebates? Did you hear that?
Visit fortisbc.com/rebates to discover all our go-ahead
rebates
to help conserve energy in your home. Energy for a better BC.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. 1130 News Radio.
9 degrees in Vancouver. Good morning. I'm Mike Lloyd. Here's what's happening right now. Members of BC's hospitality, wine, beer, and liquor sectors gathering this morning to pressure the province to find some way to get liquor distribution going during the ongoing public worker strike. They say the BC General Employees Union job action having a devastating impact on the industry. The clock is ticking. A year to go until the next municipal elections. We look at what mayors who want to hold on to their jobs are already doing to set up their campaigns. Our experts are addressing the top issues. And coming up after sports.
Mixed messages from U.S. President Donald Trump ahead of a meeting with his Ukrainian counterpart today, where discussions about ending the war and U.S. missiles are on the line.
Time for sports, and from Sportsnet 650, the home of the Canucks, here's Marcus Fitzgerald.
It has paid to be the road team in the American League Championship Series. The Blue Jays get it done again. They score another 8 runs at T-Mobile, beat the Mariners 8-2 to tie this series at 2 games apiece. Max Scherzer, the veteran pitcher known as Mad Max, went 5 2/3, struck out 5, and had a fiery exchange with manager John Schneider when Schneider came to take him out in the 5th inning. The Jays manager was pretty lighthearted about it after the game.
Yeah, it was awesome. I thought he was going to kill me. It was great. He locked eyes with me, both colors as I walked out. And it's not fake. That's the thing. It's not fake. He has this Mad Max persona, but he backed it up tonight. So it was, the infielders had a good laugh too out there, and he got the job done.
Scherzer struck out the next batter after that exchange. Andres Jimenez hit another home run. He's got 2 in as many days. It is a best of 3 now between these two clubs. Can the Mariners get the momentum back after they looked so good in Toronto for the first 2 games? It will be going back to Toronto at least for a Game 6 on Sunday. Game 7, if necessary, would go Monday night. But Game 5 is next, and that is on Friday. The LA Dodgers 1 win away from a trip back to the Fall Classic, beat the Brewers again 3-1. They took a 3-0 lead in the National League Championship Series. In the National Hockey League, Quinn Hughes had a couple of points. The Vancouver Canucks pick up their first win of the season on the road. They beat the Stars in Dallas 5-3 to kick off a 5-game road trip. And in the NFL, Joe Flacco and the Bengals get the upset win over Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers 33-31. Cincinnati at 3-4 now, hanging around in the AFC North. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour. Anytime. Sportsnet.ca.
James Carter here. 0% financing is something you only see once in a while. 0% financing on the vehicle you actually want? Less so. 0% financing on every 2025 Chevrolet Buick and GMC? A lot less so. Or Cadillac? Are you kidding me? 25 Silverado and Sierra and Equinox EV? Never. Except now, when you get 0% financing on every 2025 we sell at Carter GM.
In Burnaby and in North Vancouver.
What is happy, really? Happy can be those simple pleasures in life, like Fridays or Mondays that feel like Fridays. It's the quiet thrill of setting your out of office. It's a warm breeze, tan lines, salty hair. Happy is that moment when you don't care what time it is. Happy is a pool view at a price that makes you smile. It's knowing you nailed the booking. This isn't just travel. This is what it feels like when your vacation and your happiness start with
11:30 news time, 5:48. A high-stakes meeting between the presidents of the U.S. and Ukraine today at the White House, but it comes as Donald Trump appears to flip-flop in his messaging and support.
What's on the line for Ukraine today is the potential for more U.S. weapons that would allow the country to strike Moscow. Tomahawk missiles, something U.S. President Trump almost seemed to promise the country just days ago, now appear to be a question mark. That's because the U.S. president announced yesterday he had a surprise phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin, which he described as productive and even friendly. Trump also invited Putin to a summit in Hungary to discuss ending the war in Ukraine, though no date for that has been set. Zelensky met with other leaders in Washington yesterday and is set to have lunch with the U.S. president at 1 this afternoon. I'm Sofia Vavarutsos.
Venezuela's ambassador to the United Nations has condemned a recent U.S. strike on a small boat in the Caribbean waters that killed 6 people, calling it, quote, a new set of extrajudicial executions. Samuel Moncada called on the UN Security Council to investigate what he called a series of assassinations, noting there have been 5 lethal attacks and 27 reported deaths since the strikes in the Caribbean began in September, targeting what U.S. officials say are suspected drug traffickers.
There is a killer roaming around the Caribbean, is bloodthirsty, is killing everyone which is on the sea working, and people from different countries, Colombia, Trinidad, etc., are suffering the effects of these massacres.
The Trump administration has said it considers alleged drug traffickers as unlawful combatants who must be met with military force, but Democrats have believed that the strikes violate U.S. and international law.
Well, coming up in 60 seconds, we'll check traffic and weather together on the ones. It's 5:50.
This winter, get on-demand residential protection with Invictus Professional Snowfighters Enhanced All-Weather Plan. For just $99, register for home winter service, including anti-icing, snow removal, and de-icing. And that $99 will go toward your first service. Whether it's snowfall or a freezing night, you'll only pay when service is delivered, giving you the flexibility of on-demand residential service with the security of professional coverage. Plus, seniors and those with mobility needs save 10%. Sign up today. Call 833-SNOW-VIP.
Don't miss your chance to save up to 50% on a hot tub or swim spa. The Hot Tub and Swim Spa Blowout Expo this weekend at the TradeX in Abbotsford. Browse a massive display of hot tubs and swim spas from 5 major brands at up to 50% off. See swim spas in action offering exercise, fun, and therapy all year long. Over 40 hot tubs will be on display and every floor model must go. Financing is available and show admission is free. That's the Hot Tub and Swim Spa Blowout Expo this weekend at the TradeX in Abbotsford. Visit spashow.ca. That's spashow.ca.
It's 5:51 to the 1130 Rogers Xfinity Internet Traffic Center. Here's Sydney Parker.
Thank you, Mike. If you're out in Richmond, some garbage bags were dropped on the 91 westbound right around 6th Road and Nice Street. They're impacting the right lane. It's not causing much of a slowdown, but it's more a problem because it's still so dark out that they're hard to see until you're pretty much right up on them. So you're going to want to move over to the left as you work your way through this section of the 91, and just be careful as you go by, especially with vehicles driving fast. They might have blown around a little bit. So definitely a heads up as you work your way through there. It's also getting busier northbound on the 91 as you come out of Delta towards the Alex Fraser Bridge. You're steady from 64th until you pretty much get past Nordell. Then once you're on the bridge, wide open. And Highway 1 west in the valley, getting busier in between Abbotsford and Langley, especially by Mount Lehman. And then from 264 up to the 216 Glover Road merge. And there's still the stall on Highway 1 eastbound before 264 off on the right shoulder, though, so not really affecting traffic too much. More just waiting for a tow truck to show up on scene, and then they'll probably have to block the right lane to clear it. So just a heads up, and also a good idea to move over to the left as you work your way through this stretch. Traffic for Canadian Tire in support of Jumpstart. 20 years, 4 million kids, 100% inspiring. Jumpstart helps families overcome financial barriers to sport and play. Donate at jumpstart.canadiantire.ca. And now to the Penfolds Roofing and Solar Weather Center. Here is meteorologist Carl Lamb.
We'll have some showers around this morning and cloudy conditions. Those winds are out of the south around 20 to possibly 30 kilometers per hour, so it gets us to 13 degrees. But once we do have that clearing and getting some sunshine in here, the winds shift to the northwest, and they could gust up to 40 to even 50 kilometers per hour right by the water. And then tonight down to a low of 7. For tomorrow, cloudy with rain from the afternoon into the evening and gusty as well with a high of 10 and a low of 9. We still have some rain for Sunday from the morning into the early afternoon and 13. And then Monday, sun and cloud, a chance for showers later in the day and a high of 12. And then for Tuesday, still the chance for rain, sun, and cloud, and also 13 degrees. Your high for today is 13.
Traffic and weather brought to you by the Vancouver Giants. Don't miss the action as the Giants host the Wenatchee Wild on October 17th. Puck drops at 7 at Langley Event Center. Giants.com/tickets.
And coming up at the bottom of the hour, maybe at the top of the hour, members of BC's hospitality, wine, beer, and liquor sectors are gathering this morning. They have a 10 a.m. joint news conference on to pressure the provincial government to get liquor distributions going as this ongoing public workers strike drags on. They say the BC General Employees Union strike is having a devastating impact on the industry. We'll have details on that and all our other top stories coming up at 6 o'clock. 11:30 news time, 5:54. Well, Canadians are expected to hear plans by the federal government today to strengthen border security. Prime Minister Mark Carney is set to tour a border crossing facility in Ontario. His public safety minister holding a news conference afterward. Carney's Liberal government split its border security bill this month. The new bill includes several measures from the previous one that would tighten the immigration and refugee system, enhance information sharing on sex offenders, and introduce stronger controls on chemicals used to make illicit drugs. An inquiry scheduled for today into the deaths of 3 people 5 years ago when a tour bus rolled down an embankment at the Columbia Icefield in Jasper National Park. Canadian press reporter Bill Graveland has more.
The bus had 27 people on board when it rolled about 50 meters down a steep embankment before coming to rest on its roof. 3 died and 14 others were seriously injured. Today's fatality inquiry can't assign blame, but will make recommendations to prevent similar deaths. Justice Vaughn Myers is expected to hear about brake inspections and maintenance of the bus.
No criminal charges were laid, but the bus operator did plead guilty to 2 counts under the Occupational Health and Safety Act.
Well, Mission RCMP have released photos of a suspected vandal after multiple businesses were spray painted last month. On September 24th and 25th, the Mounties say at least 6 businesses downtown were vandalized with black spray paint. They're hoping you will recognize the man in the photos, which you can find on the Mission RCMP website. Anyone who also had their property vandalized with spray paint during that time is asked to contact the RCMP. To the U.S. now, where a former national security advisor to President Donald Trump is being charged with mishandling classified information.
John Bolton, who served as national security advisor during President Trump's first term, has been indicted. He's charged with storing top-secret records at home and sharing with relatives diary-like notes about his time in government that contained classified information. The 18-count indictment suggests that information was exposed when Iranian operatives hacked Bolton's email account in 2021.
Bolton was just indicted by a grand jury in Maryland. Do you have a reaction to that?
I didn't know that. You tell me for the first time, but I think he's, a bad person.
During Bolton's brief tenure in the Trump administration, he had disputes with the president over North Korea, Iran, and Ukraine, ultimately leading to his departure.
Bad guy, yeah, he's a bad guy. It's too bad, but it's the way it goes.
Bolton denies the charges, saying they're part of an intensive effort by the president to intimidate his opponents. Ben Thomas, Washington.
Your day starts here.
Everything Vancouver.
What they need to know with Terry Shintz and Olivia Jones.
We spend a lot of time talking about food.
Like mac and cheese.
Wake up and know more with the voices you can trust.
There's nothing wrong with mac and cheese and ketchup.
If you're a teenager. Powered by KSW Lawyers. Because the decisions that matter most should be in writing. KSWLawyers.ca.
Terry Shintz and Olivia Jones. Weekday mornings at 5 on 1130 News Radio Vancouver.
And now the market minutes with Mike Eppel.
U.S. stock futures have turned higher on the Dow Jones, reversing course from a 400-point loss early on this morning on the futures contract. There was selling in Thursday's trade on risk assessment on some U.S. regional banks, but this morning the trend turned after U.S. President Donald Trump signaled that he would be meeting with Chinese leadership over the next couple of weeks to talk trade. That turned the market higher. The Dow futures up 54 points, led by Caterpillar. NASDAQ futures down just 63 points, 0.25%, also well off the earlier low of the morning. Regional Bank Fifth Third out of Cincinnati says that it had better than forecast quarterly earnings. Stocks on the rise now. That follows a day where we saw 2 of the regional banks in the Midwest and the U.S. reporting loan losses and potential fraudulent activity. Sent the market sharply to the downside Thursday. Price for gold hit a peak of $43.92 an ounce early this morning, right now at $43.19, up $15. Gold and silver on pace for the best week since 2020, gaining close to 10%. Price for oil up 17 cents off the low at $57.63. Still, crude oil is on a pace for a loss this week of about 6% and just $2 away from breaching a 5-year low. The Canadian dollar at 71.23 is up 1/10 cent, $1.40 and a third. Bitcoin down $2,500 at $105,300. Ethereum also getting sideswiped on reduced liquidity in the crypto market. Anything tied from the stock side on cryptos also trading to the downside this morning. At the Business Center, I'm Mike Eppel.
Join us for Your Life, Your Legacy, a free educational seminar hosted by Dignity Memorial on Saturday, October 18th at 11 a.m. at Ocean View Burial Park in Burnaby. Our guest speaker, an experienced lawyer, will discuss estate planning, how to protect your family and make important decisions in advance. Seating is limited. Call 604-328-6079 today to reserve your place. Dignity Memorial. Plan today for peace of mind tomorrow. A division of Service Corporation International, Canada.
Dreaming of a Rolex? A stunning natural diamond? With bids starting up to 75% below replacement values, now is your chance. Bid and win at Federal Auction's exclusive fine jewelry and Swiss watch live auction. Only this Sunday, 1 p.m. at the Radisson Hotel, Vancouver Airport, number 3 in Canby Road in Richmond. For more information, visit federalauction.ca.
1130 News Radio is CKWX AM Vancouver. It's 6 o'clock.
Number 1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather. 1130 News Radio Vancouver.
Good morning. It is Friday, October 17th. I'm Terry Shens.
And I'm Mike Lloyd. At 9 degrees in Vancouver, here's what's happening right now.
They're desperate and need something done. Members of BC's hospitality and liquor sectors are gathering this morning to pressure the provincial government to bring in some major changes to help them survive the ongoing BCGEU strike.
Quiet campaigning is underway. How some Lower Mainland mayors are trying to hang on to their jobs, exactly 1 year out from the next civic election.
Price of gas has taken another dip in Metro Vancouver.
And an arrest is made in connection with a series of suspicious fires in Coquitlam.
The Canucks dish the Stars their first loss of the season. It's game day as well for the Vancouver Giants and Abbotsford Canucks. The BC Lions get to work today, plus the Mariners and Blue Jays now tied at 2 apiece. Sports at 15.
Morning markets stabilize after some initial losses. Dow futures now up 100 points. Gold pulling back from a record. Business at 26.
It's 6:01.
Let's head over to the 1130 News Radio Super Save Propane Air Patrol. Very good morning to Junyo.
A very good morning to you too, Terry and Mike. As usual, it's busy in Delta on northbound Highway 91, well before 64th Ave through 72nd. At Nordell, we're seeing pockets of volume from 112 to 84th, but beyond that, it's steady to the merge and past the south side of the Alex Fraser Bridge. You're wide open into the east-west as well as the Queensboro connector. In the 1130 Rogers Xfinity Internet Traffic Center, here's Sydney Parker.
Thank you, June. That report from the Super Save Propane Air Patrol. There's also volume building out in the valley, Habit 1 westbound from Abbotsford as you work your way into Langley. It's getting busier by Mount Lehman, and I actually think there might be a new problem on Highway 1 westbound before 264. You're seeing quite the heavy backup from the other side of the Bradner Rest area, so if you have any further updates on what's going on through there, definitely let me know. There's clearly something. It's also busy westbound leading up to the 216 Glover Road area, and as you come off the Portman Bridge and work your way into Coquitlam on Highway 1, also getting busier. Same with westbound through Burnaby. Nothing crazy yet, more just something to keep in mind. And still debris in Richmond. Garbage bags dropped on the 91 westbound near number 6 Road and Knight Street. It should be impacting the right lane, so just a heads up as you work your way through there. Traffic is for the Britannia Mine Museum. Looking for a different kind of Halloween? Make it a Sea to Sky Day trip for the Day of the Dead at Britannia Mine Museum. Details at britanniaminemuseum.ca. And now over to the Penfolds Roofing and Solar Weather Center. Here is meteorologist Carl Lamb.
Your high for today is 13 degrees. We will start off with some showers this morning, and those winds will be out of the south to start, but then they'll shift to the northwest, and we'll get some sun in here, especially as we go into the afternoon. Those winds could be gusty at times, especially if you're closer to the water, gusting up to about 40 to 50 kilometers per hour. And tonight we're down to a low of 7. Your high for today is 13.
11:30 news time, 6:03.
Members of BC's hospitality, wine, beer, and liquor sectors are gathering this morning to pressure the provincial government to bring in some major changes to help them survive the ongoing public servant strike.
11:30's Dean Rex Heedler joining us live. Dean, the industry players say the BC General Employees Union strike has had a devastating impact.
Yeah, that's right, Mike. 6 industry associations will be at this morning's news conference, and all of them singing from the same songbook. They're being hit hard by the BCGEU strike. It's costing them money, impacting jobs, too. Sukran Dawa runs the privately run Liquor 62 in Surrey. He says it's been brutal.
We're essentially just kind of ordering as we needed, but now the fact that we're completely out of stock, it has forced us to make some sort of executive decisions in terms of what we can do to mitigate our costs until there is some sort of resolution to this.
Now, groups like Restaurants Canada, BC Craft Brewers Guild say in lieu of a deal ending the strike, they want the province to figure out a way for private businesses to circumvent the provincial warehouses, at least for the duration of the job action. Under the current rules, they can only get liquor from those warehouses, which are behind picket lines. Live at the News Center, I'm Dean Rex Heedler.
The ongoing strike's also having a dramatic effect on people who depend on provincial government assistance.
Michaela Vandenheuvel is a single mom attending UBC. Our Joe Sadowski says she hasn't seen a check for almost a month and isn't sure when one will arrive.
Michaela says the uncertainty is taking a toll.
I feel as though I and my family and my friends are being held hostage at the will of both the government and those who are striking.
With bills piling up and no clear timeline for payment, she's already bracing for a leaner Christmas.
It's not only affecting me financially now, but it may potentially affect me financially much further down the line.
The province is urging families to check the Childcare BC website for updates, but for parents like Michaela, that's little comfort when the help they rely on still hasn't come through. In Vancouver, Joe Sadowski, City News.
Well, the countdown is on ahead of the next civic election exactly 1 year from today.
11:30's Sonia Aslam reports there are a handful of cities that will see mayoral turnover.
Richmond and Coquitlam's mayors are not running again. Pollster Mario Canseco thinks Surrey's mayor is fighting for her political life, going up against Councillor Linda Annis. In Vancouver, Mayor Ken Sim has been marred by some pretty big controversies in his first term, going up against a couple of folks who've never run for mayor. Canseco says key issues for voters include public safety, property taxes, overall affordability, and
I think one of the issues that has been deeply affecting everybody is housing, of course.
UBC political scientist Stuart Prest says you can tell voters are frustrated and understand civic politics doesn't get the attention it deserves.
So it is worth watching and paying attention because municipal politics matters.
Both men aren't sure what voter turnout will look like, but think young people will show up in droves to cast ballots. I'm Sonia Aslam.
6:06, 10 degrees, cloudy in downtown Vancouver. Fans of the Toronto Blue Jays are flying high this morning, while the Mariners faithful wondering what exactly happened.
Yeah, the Jays have roared back to tie the American League Championship Series at 2 games apiece now, following an 8-2 win last night.
Jays fans are like, where do we start? They're actually a little confused this morning with all the stellar moments in that game. And just in the series so far, Max Scherzer pitching an absolute gem in Game 4. The Jays offense on fire again. John is a little bleary-eyed this morning as he heads to work.
I feel good. I think they have a really good team. I think they'll go to the finals. Oh, Vladdy's been killing it. I think their bats are really good. Their pitching is good. I think they're on their way.
And keep in mind that Vladdy smacked his 5th home run in that game last night of the postseason. That is a new team record, moving him past the great Jose Bautista. I'm Kevin Meisner.
Well, Sportsnet will have the game at 3 this afternoon. The pregame starts an hour earlier.
Officials with a civil liberties group are strongly opposing new bail and sentencing rules planned in legislation coming next week.
The Liberal government is set to make bail more difficult to get for people accused of violent and organized crime. The bill would also prevent multiple sentences being served at the same time, allowing consecutive sentences for violent and repeat offenders. The Canadian Civil Liberties Association's Shakir Rahim says there's no evidence that bail release leads to crime. He says there isn't even basic public data on the number of people allegedly committing new offenses while out on bail, despite years of calls for government to make those numbers available. Rob Westgate, The Canadian Press.
A suspect is now in custody after a series of suspicious fires in Coquitlam. At least 4 fires reported in the Millardville neighborhood over consecutive days last month. Nobody was hurt, but a building was forced to evacuate at one point. It's still not clear if police believe the same suspect is responsible for all the fires.
The price of gasoline still trending downward in Metro Vancouver. Many stations at $1.55.9 for a liter of regular this morning. That's down 2 or 3 cents from early yesterday. Price at the pump is generally down more than a dime compared to a few days ago.
And a salmonella outbreak is growing in BC, but it does not involve people eating tainted food. It involves those handling tainted dog food and treats. The Public Health Agency of Canada identifying 31 cases in Canada altogether, 14 in BC, another 14 in Alberta. The outbreak began in February. It's associated with Puppy Love and Puppy World products. The agency reminding pet owners to always wash their hands after handling dog food.
Thank you for making the switch back to 1130 News Radio, your original home for traffic and weather every 10 minutes on the ones, traffic alerts as you need them.
Your 1130 Ferry Report is next.
Have you been disinherited? Were you left out of your parents' will? Did your siblings inherit more than you? At Ronald Kumar Law, they will fight to ensure you get a fair inheritance. British Columbia law allows for a disinherited person to challenge a will, but there are time limits to contest a will, so contact Ronald Kumar at willdisputes.ca to book a free consultation today. Ronald Kumar Law. We only get paid if we win.
And now the 1130 News Radio Ferry Reports. Here's Sydney Parker.
Thank you, Mike. If you're heading out to the island from Tawasin to Swartz Bay right now, it looks like your first up sailing is at 7 o'clock. It is sold out. So you're waiting for the 9, which is already at 95%. So just a look ahead to that 10, it's already at 70. Going from Tawasin to Duke Point, your next up is the 745, and this one is just over 80%. And Horseshoe Bay to Parcher Bay is now reservation only. So we're going to check on Horseshoe Bay to Langdale instead. Your first up 730 is at about 70%. You can find the latest ferry updates anytime at vancouver.citynews.ca/traffic.
Coming up, traffic and weather together on the ones. We'll take a look at the Portman Bridge. It is 6:10.
Criminals are threatening people and businesses for money. This is extortion, and it's happening in BC. If you are being targeted, don't pay. Help is available. Report it to local police. If you have information, call police or stay anonymous by contacting BC Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-8477 or online at bccrimestoppers.com.
1130 News Radio Mornings.
Powered by KSW Lawyers, because the decisions that matter most should be in writing.
Visit kswlawyers.ca.
The odds of encountering a tornado in Canada are 1 in 412,371. But when the weather warnings take effect, you're running like the wind. But did you know that if you've had chicken pox, the odds of getting shingles are 1 in 3? Why leave it up to chance? Ask your healthcare professional about Shingrix. The Shingrix vaccine helps protect adults against shingles. 100% protection not guaranteed. Adverse reactions may occur. Visit shingrix.ca.
611 to the 1130 News Radio Super Safe Propane Air Patrol. Here is June Young.
The approach to the Portman Bridge from Surrey is not too bad at the moment, but it's getting quite busy now over the bridge deck where you're tapping on the brakes at Cape Horn, and volume doesn't really let up on westbound Highway 1 all along Coquitlam until Burnett. Further ahead in Burnaby, you'll find another pocket of volume past Gallardi, but traffic then eases off after Sprott, and you're wide open to the Iron Workers. In the 1130 Rogers Xfinity Internet Traffic Center, here's Sydney Parker.
Thank you, June. That report from the Super Safe Propane Air Patrol. I am wondering about the slowdown at Langley. Highway 1 westbound before 264. Something is pushing you back all the way past the Bradner Rest area, almost back to Mount Lehman now. It's not as dense as when I first asked about it, but I still wonder if maybe there is something lingering. If you have details, do let me know. Busy northbound for the Patello Bridge, trying to get out of Surrey, backing up from before Bridgeview on King George, and northbound out of Delta towards the Alex Fraser, backing up from before 64, and busy for 64, 72nd, and Nordell, all trying to loop on as well. And yeah, definitely getting busier throughout the lower mainland. Continue to look out for that debris in Richmond, Highway 91 westbound near number 6 Road at night, affecting the right lane. Traffic is for Limitless AV, Vancouver's most trusted audio-visual integration expert, specializing in seamless video conferencing solutions and hybrid workspaces. Book your personalized tour of their experience center today at limitlessav.ca. And now to the Penfolds Roofing and Solar Weather Center. Here is meteorologist Carl Lamb.
We will have a few rain showers this morning across Metro Vancouver and those cloudy conditions as well. Those winds to start will be out of the south around 20, possibly 30 kilometers per hour. We'll get up to 13, but as we go through the afternoon, the winds start to shift to the northwest and bring in some sunshine too. And we're down to 7 degrees tonight under cloudy conditions. And for tomorrow, it is cloudy and rainy, especially as we go into the afternoon and evening. Also windy with some gusts up to about 40 to 50 kilometers per hour. Saturday's high is 10. Your high for today is 13.
11:30 news time, 6:13. The Vancouver Whitecaps have not lost a game in over 2 months, and they hope to continue that trend tomorrow to close out the MLS regular season at BC Place. Now, a win or a draw against Dallas would clinch first place in the Western Conference and to give the club home field advantage to start the playoffs. Now, the first postseason game for the Caps would be October 26th or 27th against a yet-to-be-determined opponent.
And coming up next, it is now a best-of-3 for the Jays and the Mariners and a win on the road for the Canucks in a difficult place to play. We've got sports and top headlines up next.
1130 News Radio Crypto Report, brought to you by Netcoins. Netcoins makes crypto trading simple. Start trading today at netcoins.com. Crypto trading involves risk. Netcoins is registered with applicable Canadian regulators.
Price for Bitcoin under pressure this morning. It bottomed out early on at 103,500, the lowest level since June, and down over $20,000 from the recent peak that was reached on October 6th. The total value of the crypto market has shrunk by over $600 billion since last Friday. Ethereum slipping under $3,700, retreating around 25% from its August peak. Ethereum right now is down about 2% on the morning.
Crypto is here, and Netcoins is leading the way in Canada. Netcoins is your home for safe, simple digital asset trading. Proudly owned by Big Digital Assets, Inc. Listed on the TSX Venture Exchange under BIGG. Visit netcoins.com to get started. Crypto trading involves risk. Netcoins is registered in Canada with the applicable Canadian regulators.
Vancouver's trusted news. 1130 News Radio.
Cloudy skies.